it's Yvonne. So today I'm going to show you how to make this flirty feminine flutter tank. I was inspired by the user LX3Lally. I think that's how you'd say her name. But basically she had done a shirt with similar principle, being flirty and fluttery and feminine and all that stuff. Now mine looks nothing like hers. Hers was like an asymmetrical hem with some things on the shoulder. But hers did inspire me to make a shirt along the same theme. And this is what I've come up with. It's really easy. It's cut from one piece of fabric using, guess what, my favorite shape. It's a circle. I really love circles. They just drape so beautifully. They're full at the bottom, but a bit more fitted at the top. So anyway, if you like this tank and you'd like to know how to make it, keep watching. Also, you can visit my website, which is www.evangesews.com, for diagrams and step-by-step instructions. So this is the fabric I've chosen. It's a jersey or knitted fabric, which means it's stretchy. It's basically the same type of fabric they use to make t-shirts from. And I've laid it out one layer thick. Don't try folding this before you cut your pattern, because what'll happen is, because it's so stretchy, when you fold your pattern and then go to smooth it out, one layer is going to stretch a bit more than the other layers, and you're going to end up with a crooked pattern. So I've just got it one layer thick, which does mean it's going to take a bit longer to mark off and cut out my patterns. But I think the end result will be worth it, because I'll have something that's a lot more even. So I've got it one layer thick, and I'm going to mark off my pattern. And can anyone guess what type of pattern I might be using? It's going to be a circle, basically. I really like circles. They're really easy, a geometric shape to make, but they drape really, really nicely. They're nice and full, and I think it's the perfect shape of pattern for a flirty, fluttery tank top. So I think it'll work perfectly for this project. So I'm just going to, I've marked off a little thing in the center here, and I'm just going to radiate all the way around, marking off my length. And I'm making this as big as I possibly can that my fabric will accommodate. So can you kind of see where I've marked off the pattern? So I'm just going to cut this out now. So this is what that looks like. Okay, I know what you're thinking. This doesn't really look like a shirt at this point, or even a shirt pattern. Don't worry, it will. So the next step is you need to take some measurements. You just need to measure your chest, not your bust, your chest. Your chest is just above your bust. So on me, that's about 32. And then you're going to need to find the radius of that, and I usually just round up a bit for ease also. And what you need to do is, once you've found that radius, you just need to mark that off from the center. You're only marking it off, you're not going to cut it. It's just going to be used as a guide for drafting the rest of the pattern. So you probably can't see it because it is a bit faint, but I do have a circle marked off. Don't cut that. This is just as a guide for sketching in the rest of your pattern. And so, speaking of the rest of the pattern, the next thing you need to do is figure out how big you want your armholes. So basically just measure around your arm. On me, that's about 14 inches. So I'm just going to take a scrap piece of paper. This is a flyer that came. And then just cut out a circle that would have the same circumference as whatever you want your armhole to be. So this is approximately my pattern. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the center of this pattern on this circle I've drawn on the inside here. I'm going to line up the center on the line, and then I'm going to trace around that, and that's going to become my armhole. And then obviously I'm repeating it on the other side, because you should have two arms. Okay, so once you've got these two armhole circles marked in, you want to come in about an inch from the edge of the small circle towards the center of the piece of fabric, and just mark off where about an inch is, and then kind of roughly sketch a straight line just down. And then where these lines meet this circle, just kind of curve it off a bit. Okay, and that's basically going to be your pattern. So before I cut anything, I'm just going to run through again what I did. I cut out a big outer circle, as big as the fabric would allow me to. And then on the inside, I marked off a circle, and this circle indicates the circumference of my chest. Then on either side, I marked off a smaller circle to be my armholes. I came in about an inch towards the center from where I had marked off my armholes, and I drew a straight line, and then I curved the corners where it met the middle circle kind of thing. Just curve the corners. So this is my pattern. So I'm just gonna cut that out. So this is what you will have. Next, you just need to finish your seams basically. You can leave it raw, but I don't really like the raw look. So on the bottom edge, I'm gonna do a basic rolled hem. And then I think for the neck hole and armholes, I'm going to do some kind of casing or binding. On this bottom edge, I'm going to do a rolled hem. Now, I just have a normal machine. I don't have a serger with a rolled hem stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zigzag it. But while I'm zigzagging it, I'm going to aim to have it hit the fabric, and then when it zigzags back, hit just off the fabric, and it'll give it a rolled hem effect without needing, you know, a fancy expensive machine. So this is what the hem is going to look like. It gives it a really like ruffly effect. I really like it. It's really going to go well with the rest of the shirt. I think it's very, you know, feminine. But yeah, that's a great way of finishing seams. Just zigzag, and when you zigzag, make sure that when it goes back, it's just off the fabric, and it kind of does like almost a rolled hem effect. So I had said that I was going to finish off the armholes and neckline with some sort of binding or casing, but I've changed my mind. I didn't really take into account how much this would stretch. So I've decided instead to face it using a non-stretch woven fabric, and I just happen to have like this fabric that matched exactly. You know, how lucky is that? And to face something, it's a really great way to finish edges that are curved without it ending up being like wrinkly or rippled, kind of. What you basically do is you just cut out a piece of fabric that lines up with the edge perfectly, except for it's only about, you know, an inch, inch and a half wide. Then sew it together, right sides together, flip it to the right side, and then top stitch. And that is a really great way to finish edges and have it look really good. But in this case, I'm doing it just to prevent the neck hole and arm holes from stretching out too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of fabric that I've cut out. This matches up with the neckline perfectly. I'm just going to pin it together, right sides together, and then sew it. So I've got it pinned, and I'm just going to sew a little straight seam as close to the edge as I can. And I'm going to make sure that the jersey side is the side that's facing down towards the feed dog, because what will happen is that this jersey fabric is going to stretch more than the woven fabric, and it's going to get left behind. So I just want to have this one, the jersey side, on the side with the feed dog, just so that it has kind of a head start, because the woven fabric won't have trouble advancing, but the knitted fabric might. So just a straight seam as close to this edge as possible. Okay, so I've sewn all the way around. Now you just flip this over and then top stitch. Don't worry about this extra fabric here, you can trim that off later. Now as far as top stitching goes, for jersey fabrics I like to always use a zigzag stitch, just because it's difficult to sew a straight stitch on stretchy fabric, just because the fabric will stretch but your thread won't. So just to have a bit of extra ease, I always like to use a zigzag stitch on jersey fabric. Another good option for top stitching is if you have a twin needle, to use that. But in this case, I've already done the armholes with the zigzag stitch, so I'm just going to keep doing that. Yeah. And this is the finished shirt. It's very big and floaty. I wouldn't say it's shapeless, just floaty. Yeah. I really love the circle shape because of the way that it drapes. It's very full at the bottom, but at the top it's very slim. So this is so cute, so feminine, and this color is really, really current. Kind of a peachy skin color, not quite pink color. I think is really hot, looks good with black. I did make this with the intention of pairing it with a belt, so I'm going to do that. I wouldn't wear it like this. What you can do is also, you can make this into a cardigan or vest really easily by just cutting down the front and then finishing that the same way as you did like the armhole and neck hole. And that would look really cute. You could also add sleeves, but really I love the body of this. It's awesome. Yeah, in retrospect, I thought it was going to be a lot longer. It's a bit shorter than I had expected it to turn out, but you know, it's still cute, it's still wearable, and I do have kind of a long torso, so yeah, I guess you probably couldn't make it much longer without having to switch to using like multiple pieces of fabric, but yeah. Thanks for watching. Also, check out my website, www.evanishsews.com, and I'm going to have some diagrams and step-by-step instructions, just if anything in this video wasn't clear. So, thanks for watching.